A big concern, Cynthia, and we know COVID-19 is being called the unequal pandemic, with Black and racialized communities along with low-income neighborhoods being hit the hardest here in Toronto. And for that reason, and with school about 1 month away, many living in those communities, including right here in Jane and Finch, they're calling on school boards along with the province to address these inequities.
Now what we're doing is creating another system of exposure with really no thought.
4 of the top 5 neighborhoods that have the highest COVID-19 infection rates are home to a population of over 60% visible minorities. Most of them are Black. One of those areas hit the hardest, Jane and Finch.
We know that many of those people are working precarious jobs, and these jobs don't come with a lot of benefits to be able to take time off. So while they were sick, they were also losing income, and their partners were losing income.
Now compare that to the neighborhoods with fewest cases. 4 of the 5 account for less than 6% of the Black population, a clear indication of who is disproportionately being impacted. And with this data in hand, many are asking for tailored responses when it comes to getting kids back to classrooms. And advocates in Jane and Finch are already asking their leaders about this.
It has to be something tailored to communities, because I have a lot of parents who have emailed me, called me, and let me know that they're very uncertain about sending their children back to school, period. And maybe at this point, they're going to have to take the income loss.
We know that COVID-19 has been called the unequal pandemic, with Black and racialized communities along with low-income neighborhoods being disproportionately impacted by this virus. But with school just 1 month away, many, including those living here in the Jane and Finch community, are calling on governments and the school boards to address these inequities.
This is not a one-size-fits-all rollout. You're rolling out on something where other neighborhoods where they're affluent, they have the luxury and the income to possibly not even send their children to school.
But these issues are rampant in many communities across the city. In Malvern, where parents are wondering how this data will factor into the school board's back-to-school plans.
If I just travel 10 minutes north or 10 minutes east or 10 minutes west, there's a higher income community and there's less COVID cases. It's bigger risk to send my kid to school. And that is unfair. It's unfair to my child, and it's unfair to all of the parents making this decision.
Though the province released its back-to-school models, they say it's up to school boards to come up with the day-to-day specifics.
This should be basic for a government. The principle of equity is that we do different things to get the same result. And so if we're going to do the same thing in the beaches community as we are in a community like Malvern, we're going to not get the same result. And that's unfair to our kids.
For parents of elementary school students, there are also issues of classroom sizes and anxieties around the fact the province has not put in a cap.
When he was in grade 3, there was 27 children. So I don't know how you would split 27 children 6 feet apart in a tiny classroom. So that's a big concern.
We asked the Premier about what's going to be done to protect schools in the hardest hit neighborhoods. He says they're strictly following public health guidelines.
If they feel in these areas they need more funding, lower cohorts, by all means, we have $80 million sitting there.
And we also asked the TDSB, along with the Toronto Catholic District School Board, just how this data will factor into their personal back-to-school plans. At this point, that is unclear. The TDSB telling us that they are in discussion with the Ministry of Education about any possibilities. The Catholic Board saying that they are following the advice of the Public Health Unit along with the province. Meanwhile, the TDSB unveiled its latest back-to-school plan at a special committee meeting. 680's Phil Martino has the details.